Tonight, we're going to look into a theory that's, well, out there, like way out there. But it's also quite fascinating because it attempts to bridge the gap between hard science and something paranormal investigators encounter regularly: the concept of residual energy. I talked about this concept in a recent short, but in case you missed it, here are the basics. In the paranormal world, residual energy is a common explanation for phenomena like phantom footsteps, disembodied voices, or even full-blown apparitions, especially ones tied to specific locations. Think of it like a recording etched into the ether of a place. The idea is that a highly emotional or traumatic event leaves an energetic imprint, and under certain conditions, that imprint can play back. Now, when those of us who have an interest in the paranormal talk about this, we're talking about something ethereal, something beyond our current scientific understanding. After all, we don't have a residual energy detector that works with a scientific stamp of approval, right? But what if there was a physical mechanism, a cutting-edge concept from the world of physics, that could offer a speculative, admittedly wild explanation for how such replays might occur? This idea is known as time mirrors. No, this isn't wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey science fiction stuff, but real science. Let me give you a little explanation. As you know, a conventional mirror reflects light waves. You look into a mirror, your reflection bounces back at you. Pretty standard, right? But imagine a mirror that reflects waves, not just in space, but in time. Yes, you heard that right, time. And this isn't just theoretical anymore. Scientists have actually demonstrated time mirrors in labs, albeit on a very small scale, under highly controlled circumstances, and with specific types of waves. The basic idea is that you create an incredibly rapid and uniform change in the properties of the medium that the wave is traveling through. Think of it like snapping your fingers at just the right moment, and suddenly a sound wave that was moving forward reverses its temporal sequence. So if a wave has a complex pattern, say a series of ripples, a time mirror wouldn't just bounce those ripples back, but it would make them play in reverse, just like a conventional mirror reverses images. The last ripple would appear first, and the first ripple last, much like taking a video and playing it backward. And now let's bring this back around to the paranormal. Of course, hard science quickly dismisses such far-fetched speculation, but let's stew on this idea for a moment. We often talk about highly emotional events leaving an imprint. What if, and this is a huge what if, the intense mental and emotional energy of these events, perhaps a moment of extreme fear, anger, or despair, somehow creates a localized, temporary time mirror effect within the environment itself? We're talking about the atoms, the molecules, the very fabric of the building or the land, perhaps even down to the quantum level. Could a powerful energetic discharge from a human experience under certain conditions cause a rapid, localized shift in the atomic structure of the air, the walls, the furniture? If that were to happen, then any sound waves, any light waves, any vibrations, perhaps even some unknown energy waves associated with human consciousness from that event could potentially be time reversed or played back. Imagine a traumatic event like a violent argument or a battle that might create these waves, vibrations at just the right frequency and at just the right time. Now let's consider that if this natural time mirror effect occurred, then years later, someone walking through the same location could possibly perceive fragments of those waves, not necessarily as they happened in real time, but as a replay or even a time-reversed echo. Now let me emphasize, this is far from anything scientific, since it's simply pure, unadulterated speculation tied to a relatively new, cutting-edge bit of scientific research. First, the time mirrors we've created in labs are incredibly precise, requiring controlled environments, specialized materials like metamaterials, and massive energy inputs to create those abrupt, uniform changes in the medium. And of course, it involves careful documentation to prove to other scientists that the effect is reproducible. So since an event, like a distressed human mind, spontaneously creating perfect conditions in a specific location for a time mirror can't be properly documented and reproduced, almost all scientists would consider it unscientific wishful thinking at best. But there are other problems to bear in mind, like the scale of such events. Lab-created time mirrors work with specific types of waves at a microscopic level. The apparitions or voices we talk about in the paranormal are often complex phenomena, what we could call macroscopic phenomena. To replicate a full visual apparition or a coherent sentence through this mechanism would require an incredibly sophisticated, naturally occurring time mirror far beyond anything human scientists have even conceived of creating. And finally, there's the why. Why would this happen only in certain places? Why only with certain intense emotions? Physics usually works predictably, is reproducible, and according to the science as we understand it, the conditions required for time mirroring are very specific. If every emotional outburst created a time mirror, our world would be a chaotic mess of temporal echoes. But here's why the idea still tickles my brain. It offers a potential bridge. Instead of saying it's just energy we can't measure, this theory attempts to ground it, however speculatively, in the known laws of physics. It allows us to imagine a mechanism, even if it's currently beyond our grasp to prove. Could residual energy be a crude, intuitive way of describing an environment that has somehow, under extreme circumstances, created a temporary, localized, time-reversing field for certain types of energetic imprints? Could the stone walls of an old building, or the very ground itself, act as a complex, natural metamaterial that occasionally flips its temporal properties due to a powerful event? It's a wild thought, right? It takes the abstract concept of a memory imprint and tries to give it a physical dimension. Could it be that our environment, our very reality, might be far more complex and responsive to human events than we currently understand? I've pondered this myself, especially when I've walked in places with a haunted history, like the Chickamauga Battlefield Park, or an old house like the Blue Willow Inn in Social Circle, Georgia. After all, we are so far from understanding the true nature of consciousness, emotion, and how they interact with the physical world. While the link between lab-created time mirrors and ghost phenomena requires a massive leap of faith and unscientific thinking, exploring these cutting-edge physics concepts gives us new language, new frameworks, and new questions to ask when we encounter the unexplained. What do you think? Is this a completely bonkers idea, or does it spark some interesting possibilities for you? Have you ever had an experience that felt like a replay of a past event? Let me know in the comments. And until next time we meet, watch for those strange waves the past might be calling you.